I'm so excited about this project. I didn't even clean up behind me or anything. So here I am. We are going to make a budget quilt today out of this fabric that I got at Joann Fabrics. It's a bundle of 20 squares, 5 different designs, 4 of each, and I fell in love with it. Look at these. Aren't they pretty? When I saw the price, it was even better. The original price was $14.99. Of course, I had all the coupons and all that wonderful stuff, and I purchased this for $7.08. When I saw the price and what I purchased it for, I thought, I wonder if I could make a quilt for under $20. I had to be really creative with this and really think outside the box, and I think you'll be surprised at what I put on the back of this and how I finish it. So let's get started making this. The first thing I did was use graph paper, use colored pencils, colored out exactly the design I wanted. I love the look of this, and I love the fact that if you took a couple of these packs, you could make a trip around the world quilt or 9 patches or just a whole lot of different designs. First thing I'm going to do is open up this pack, press everything out real nice, and get started sewing. So let's go. Okay, so I'm at my design board, and I'm so glad I laid this out before I started sewing. This is a great tip. Make sure that even though it looks good on paper, that it looks good in real life too. And I'm so glad I did, because I don't like this. This blue is, in my opinion, way too dark and way too stark for this quilt. It's so disappointing, because I was really hoping this would all work out right away, but that happens sometimes in quilting and in life, right? So I have a few options. I could redesign it and do something totally different. I could cut more fabric from my stash, maybe replace this with a white or something like that, but I really don't want to do that. I want to use this pack. So what I'm going to do is turn this fabric upside down, and I'm going to show you how much better it looks. So you can see by turning it over, it just looks so much better than that dark blue. I don't know, to me it made it pop. Now, not all fabrics look great on the other side. This is one of those fabrics that isn't great looking on the back side, but to me it almost looks like faded blue jeans or denim or something, and I like it, and I'm gonna go with it. My biggest challenge now is when I sew these rows together, making sure that I sew this one the wrong way with the wrong side to the right side when I do it. So I'm going to go to the machine, and I'm going to sew this row, this row, this row, this row, this row. I'm going to use my layout on paper to do that. I'm also going to press to the side so I can make sure that these rows nest. So the top row, the 3rd row, and the 5th row I'll press in one direction, and the 2nd and the 4th row I'll press the other way. That way they'll nest. So I will meet you back here when I have these rows sewn and pressed. So my rows are done through the magic of YouTube and recording. One thing I want to mention, not all of these squares were 10 inches. Some were a little bigger. Thank goodness none were smaller, but I did have to trim up some, especially this yellow fabric. For some reason, this one seemed to be miscut. It's not a big deal. I mean, it happens, right? Just pay attention to that if you choose to buy one of these. So what I did was I pressed, like I said, them going in opposite directions. Now I'm going to sew each row together and have a finished quilt just like that. Okay, here it is. Oh my goodness. Look at how pretty. Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm going to put it up here on the design wall. It's so pretty. I love it. I love the way it's coming together and turning out. I am so glad that I turned this the other way. It just adds a nice soft look to this. It's so pretty, and it just came together beautifully. So it measures about 50 inches by 60 inches, because I did have to trim some of those blocks. If I had it to do over again, I would have trimmed these all down to maybe 9.5 inches, and then I wouldn't have had a problem. Now's the time that we need to decide how we're going to finish this. We can just use batting, backing, binding, and just do a traditional quilt. That would be absolutely beautiful. But because I wanted to keep this on a budget of less than $20, I also wanted to be a little creative. So off to Walmart I went. I had an idea of what I wanted to buy, but I still wanted to check things out. If I were going to buy yardage, I would need 2 yards. And Walmart has a really wonderful section in their craft section, at least ours does, where they have 2-yard rolls for $4. So I was looking there. I found a few things. I found a yellow that I really liked, but it was also very thin. And I didn't really want to put batting in this. I decided to skip that. Then I went off to look at the batting just in case, and Their batting is relatively inexpensive, but again, I would still need to buy a backing and that wouldn't stay within my budget. So I ended up where I originally thought I would be, which is in the beach towel department. So there are many different types of beach towels at Walmart. There are many different qualities. There's many different price points. So I looked at them all and I decided, let me get them, on these. These were $6 a piece. Aren't they pretty? They'll look good with this, right, on the back. And the quality is really nice. They're nice and thick. Dilemma I have now, as I was thinking about this, is do I want this side to be facing the outside of the quilt, or do I want the terry cloth to be facing the outside? So it makes it like kind of like a giant beach towel or a beach sheet or something. I don't know. Also, I decided on these because of the design too. It still has a stripe. Many of them did have stripes, but I feel like I could line this up, or if I'm off a little bit, it's not going to make much of a difference. These, by the way, measure 28 by 60 inches, which is going to be perfect for this. I am going to wash these first just because I want all the fuzzies and sizing off of it. I'm not sure how it will perform with this, and I don't want the back to be more puckered than the front. I'm still taking a chance though, because I did not pre-wash these. So there's that, but I think it's still going to be okay. I'm going to pre-wash these now, and I will meet you back when we assemble these and get this all put together. The towels are out of the washer and dryer, and they did get a little wavy, a little distorted. So I'm glad I washed them, because I wouldn't want that to happen after it's all put together. This way the sizing is out and we're good to go. Okay, I'm at my machine. I use these giant clips, which really work great. And I am now starting to get nervous that it's not gonna be straight, but it's gonna be okay. If it's not straight, it's not straight. I was thinking about basting it first, but I'm just gonna go for it. So let's do it. Now, I'm not gonna start on this big bulky seam because it's just gonna be too thick and it might throw everything off. I'm gonna start in here. I did move this clip over here. I'm gonna start in here. So I'm gonna lift my presser foot, feed it in there. We're gonna eventually cut off those big bulky seams anyway, so I don't need to sew over it. Here we go, wish me luck. Okay, so let's take a final look at this, see where we're at. Oh, I didn't do too bad. You can hardly tell where that's at. There's a few spots, but overall, looking pretty good. I could go back in and maybe even stitch that. Actually, I will. I'll just stitch that spot a little tighter. But everything else looks good. Anytime you're working with non-traditional fabrics like this, you do have to be careful. But that's so close. Yeah, I'm just going to stitch that in a little bit more. I'll be right back. Okay, so now it should be good. Let's take a look. It is. Yay! All right. So the next step I'm going to do is trim away this seam here. And I'm going to make sure I keep a pretty decent seam allowance from where I sewed to where I'm going to cut. So let's cut this down. I'm going to use a nice big ruler and make sure this is laying nice and flat. At the end here where the seam or the top is still pretty thick, I'm just going to use scissors to cut through that. I'm going to slide this up. This doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so this did make a lot of fuzz, but I think it's going to work out just fine. So the next step is to press this seam open. So I'm going to open it up like this and take it to the iron and press this. Now I do need to use a polyester setting because there is some polyester in this and I don't want to melt it. Then we'll sandwich this and finish up this quilt. So I have this all pressed and open, and I have my quilt top here all pressed and ready to go. So now we are going to make the quilt. I am leaving this seam or this, I guess, hem around the towels for right now, and I'm going to trim it away afterward. So I'm going to lay this down with the right side up, this pretty side up, and I'm going to lay this with the right side down. We're going to sew around the outside, trim it up, and turn it around. Now when you sew around the outside, you're going to leave a space of about like 4 inches, enough that you can get your hand in there and turn it around. And to make sure everything's straight and flat, I'm going to tape this to my floor, lay this on top, and then pin around the outside and in the middle so I can keep it nice and solid when I sew it. So let's do that now. And I forgot to hit record when I was sewing. I'm so sorry about that. I did sew around the whole outside of this. I'm going to show it to you in a minute. And I'm going to trim it up just with scissors. And then we're going to turn it and see what it looks like. Let's do it. And I'm cutting along here. This is where my opening is. Okay, and I back stitched at the beginning and the end of the opening. And my opening runs between these 2 points. So I am going to just keep on cutting along the edge of the quilt top all the way around. All right, so I have it all trimmed down. It's wonderful. And I'm going to now take all of the safety pins out, and then I'm going to turn it. So let's do it. I've never made anything like this before. I've never used a towel for the backing, so this is all new to me. This is like real time. Usually I practice whatever I'm making, and I'll make a couple before I put it onto a recording, but this time I did not. So I'm going to turn it now. Here's my opening, a nice big opening. Here we go. Okay. All right. Push out those points. All right, you're seeing it even before me. Oh my goodness. Okay. Get all those points out. There it is. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let me see. Oh my goodness. I love this. I love this. All right, so now our next step is, well, we have a few options. We can sew around the edge and just turn this under, and that'll also close up the hole that we left. And then we can tie it or quilt it if we want. However you want to finish it is fine. I love the back even. Look at this. So I'm going to give this a really good press, and then I am going to, I'm going to stitch it, and I'm going to quilt right beside these lines and just do a grid pattern on this. And if I have to, if it's still a little flopsy, I might tie or do a little tacking in the middle here too. So let's do this, and I will show you the big reveal when I'm done. It's finished. Oh my goodness, I love the way this came out. It is so cozy and snuggly and wonderful. I can't wait to cuddle up with it on the porch and just read a book or something. It's super soft. I do think I need to add maybe a little bit more quilting or some ties or something because there is a lot of empty space here. So I will be doing that just to make it a little bit better and a little bit more solid. But it's soft. It's so nice. It almost feels like there's batting in there, even though there's not. I love this. For less than $20, we made a quilt. I hope you take the time to make something like this and enjoy it like I will this summer. I hope you have a great day. I hope you take some time to sew, and I will see you real soon. Bye.